Okay, good afternoon everyone and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. I'm Carol Ashburn, I'm the Director of Marketing here at the High Jump Transportation Group, and I'm so happy to have you all with us. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with us. Today we've got a great presentation for you. We've invited our friends from SaferWatch to help us demonstrate the powerful new enhancements we've got to the SaferWatch integration with the Prophesy Dispatch software, and I'll introduce the team in just a moment. Just a quick housekeeping item. We'll be muting everyone's lines during the bulk of the webinar. It just helps to keep the background noise to a minimum for everyone on the call. We're all working in busy offices, and this just helps everyone to have a good experience and able to hear everything clearly. Don't worry, we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar where you can ask whatever questions you'd like, and everyone will be unmuted for that. Also, be sure to stick with us until the end of the webinar when we'll draw the lucky winner of the free Samsung Chromebook laptop. Someone that's on the phone today will be the one to win, so that's exciting. Kevin Pasternak, our Vice President of Sales here at the High Jump Transportation Group, will be our presenter today. Kevin has been with the Prophesy product line for more than 20 years, and prior to that, spent several years working in the transportation industry as well. Many of you know him quite well, as he is very hands-on with our customers and makes it his mission to ensure that you all get the most out of your investment in your Prophesy software through knowledge and training, and today is a good example of that. And he's joined today by two of our friends from Brazilla, producers of SaferWatch, Lisa Reichenberg and Jay Pelkey. Those of you who joined us in Las Vegas for our Elevate User Conference last month will remember Lisa and Jay, as they spent several days with us on site at the event. Lisa has been with SaferWatch for 2 years as the Business Development Manager. Lisa brings to the table 20-plus years in sales, client relations, business management, and transportation contract sales. She has years of experience as well working closely with transportation attorneys. And Jay Pelkey has headed up the SaferWatch Cert Data program for the last 3 years. He has 17 years of experience managing call centers and data entry departments. Prior to joining the SaferWatch team, Jay was the Director of Operations at RMIS for 9 years. He managed operations behind TransCore's Carrier Watch program for 5 years and managed the operations of Internet Truck Stop's Insurance Monitoring Program, CACCI, for 3 years. So we've got some great expertise on our panel today for you and a powerful collaboration to show you. So without further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Kevin to get us started.
Carol, thank you very much for that introduction, and I too would like to welcome everyone to today's webinar. 2.5 years ago, Prophesy partnered with SaferWatch, a leading provider of best-in-class carrier compliance and risk management data. The data was integrated into Prophesy Dispatch System to ensure that when you assigned a carrier to a load, that automatically, behind the scenes, you are performing your due diligence and ensuring that the carrier is in full DOT compliance. Over the last 2 years, we've made a number of enhancements to the integration. We recently completed a major enhancement, which is to bring cert data and the actual certs into Prophesy Dispatch. In today's webinar, you will learn more about SaferWatch, see a live demonstration of the SaferWatch integration with Prophesy Dispatch, including the new cert integration. I want to thank our partners at SaferWatch, including Lisa Reichenberg and Jay Pelkey, for lending their expertise to today's presentation. Lisa will now give you an overview of SaferWatch. Lisa?
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank Carol and Kevin for inviting Jay and I to talk about SaferWatch and SaferWatch's latest Prophesy Dispatch application integration, Cert Data, which is Certificates of Insurance Services. We truly appreciate our partnership with HighJump and are very excited to share our SaferWatch integration information with all the participants in this webinar. Let me start with our mission statement, safeguarding the transportation industry by assuring quality partnerships. Simply put, with help from friends like HighJump, we bring it all together, from a simple layout with clear information for carrier dispatching to unprecedented tools for risk managers. Companies can be the best they can be. SaferWatch was developed in 2008 and is the tool used by progressive companies to manage risk and to qualify and monitor carriers. when an intermediary company arranges for their customers the transportation of property by a motor carrier for compensation, they have an ethical and contractual obligation to their customers to properly qualify each motor carrier they use. Since time is money in the transportation industry, the objective is to complete the time-consuming qualification task in the least amount of time possible. The SaferWatch service is absolutely the most powerful tool to accomplish this objective. Through SaferWatch, customers can qualify and monitor carriers based on their own internal carrier qualification guidelines. SaferWatch provides customers, directly through Prophesy, the most up-to-date profile, authority, safety, inspection, and insurance certificate data. Customizable carrier qualification guidelines. In your SaferWatch risk management screen, you can customize your carrier qualification guidelines to effectively qualify your new carriers and monitor your existing carriers. The personalized carrier qualification guideline you choose as the default in SaferWatch is fed directly into Prophesy and powers the carrier risk indicator, which Kevin will be demonstrating here shortly. And now, with the addition of the Certificates of Insurance data, CERT data, added to the Prophesy integration, SaferWatch provides a complete service for all your risk management needs. CERT data is the leading insurance certificate monitoring service in the transportation industry, providing best-in-class services. Here's a few ways CERT data provides outstanding service, all which are conveniently provided through Prophesy. Customers have unrestricted access to over 50,000 certificates of insurance right from Prophesy. Prophesy users can send real-time requests to SaferWatch when certificates are not on file. SaferWatch provides a service-level commitment to Prophesy users. SaferWatch will work on certificate requests immediately upon the submission placed by the Prophesy user, and SaferWatch will continue to work on the request every 15 minutes thereafter until the certificate is in. Real-time updates. Once a certificate is processed by SaferWatch, the user receives notification via email that the request has been completed and in real time. The user can pull the certificate data and image into Prophesy with a click of a button. Flat rate monitoring. In addition to unrestricted access to certificates of insurance, real-time certificate requests, service level commitments, and real-time updates, all customers enjoy monitoring of an unlimited amount of carriers monitored at a flat rate. SaferWatch benefits: 80% faster carrier qualification, onboarding, and dispatching. Proactive insurance monitoring. Lower internal carrier risk management cost. Mitigate fraud exposure and identity theft. Lower contingent cargo and brokers' liability premiums. We hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we look forward to working with each and every one of you in the near future. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kevin.
Lisa, thank you very much for that information on SaferWatch. When we go through the live presentation today, some of the areas that I'm going to cover are onboarding your carriers and how simple it is with the integration, how you can enter a simple MC number or DOT number, click a button, and the carrier can be automatically added to the dispatch system. We'll look at how you can easily download the CERT data and the actual certs themselves, how you can configure the system so that carrier information is automatically upgraded in the dispatch system. And we'll go through the operations phase. I'll show you how the system can automatically, dynamically check the carrier safety information in real time when you're assigning carriers or when you're marking carriers en route. We'll also look at those warnings and prevents that come up in the system. And of course, we'll look at the log that's kept in the background. So if there ever is an incident or an accident, you have the documentation to show that you did do your due diligence. Let's take a look at the software now. Where I'd like to start today is actually in the preference section. And I want to start here because when you have the SaferWatch integration, there is a new section added within your resource conflicts. And some of the data that we do bring in from SaferWatch includes CSA basics, your driving, compliance, fitness, alcohol, vehicle maintenance, hazardous material. We also check common and contract authority, out of service safety rating, and there's a carrier risk indicator alert, which Lisa did talk about, and that's something that you set up and can configure within the SaferWatch program itself. For all of these items, you can set up what you want to happen within the dispatch system. Do you want us to prevent the assignment if one of these conditions exists? Do you want us to warn you about the assignment? Or do you want us to simply ignore it? So when you get this module, the trainer that works with you will go through all of these and will configure all of these settings with you. In addition, we're going to check the carrier information, carrier insurance information, and I'm sure you all are already familiar with those settings in the program. So let's use an example that you've got a load to cover and you found a carrier to use or think that you're going to use, but you've never actually used that carrier before, so they're not in your system. Well, what you want to do is pre-approve or see if it's even worth negotiating with that carrier to haul that load. You want to make sure they meet or exceed your minimum safety requirements. So all you have to do is enter the carrier MC number or DOT number. I'll just take one here. We'll hit enter. In real time, the system just went out to the SaferWatch site, checked that carrier safety information, and came back, and it's telling us in this case that the carrier does meet our requirements. However, it's giving us some warnings. And it's warning us that there's an HOS compliance alert for the basics, and that's triggering in my system the carrier risk indicator alert within SaferWatch. So this carrier would be okay for me to use because, once again, they're in a warning situation, but they're not in an issue that would prevent my assignment. There's two other conditions that could come back when you do a pre-approval. You could get a carrier that would come back and would be flagged in red. In that case, it's telling you that, hey, this carrier does not meet your minimum safety requirements, and the system would not let you onboard that carrier, unless, of course, you had supervisor rights to override that, and some people want that because there are times when they want to add a carrier like that. Or the carrier would come back and they would be in green. And in green means there's nothing wrong and there would be nothing down here alerting you that there was an issue. So let's say we want to onboard KLX. I'm simply going to enter an ID that I want to use for KLX in the system. I'm going to click enter, and automatically the carrier has been onboarded. All of the information that you would normally manually key into the Prophesy dispatch system has been brought in. You can see the address, the city, state, the phone number. We can see the CSA basics information is brought in. The MC, the DOT number has been added. Down here we can see, once again, the CSA basics. We can see the overall risk indicator is at a medium state. The safety rating is satisfactory. The authority came in. It's telling us it's active. They do not have their brokerage authority. They are not out of service. We can see they have 56 to 75 trucks. If we wanted to save the carrier, we'd simply get their federal ID number from them, enter it, and we would click save. In addition, if we wanted to see detailed information about the carrier, we could click right here, and this would bring us right out to the SaferWatch site, and we could see all the details about the carrier on the SaferWatch site. If we wanted to automatically refresh this data, let's say this data had been in our system for a while, we could go ahead and click refresh, and we could refresh it manually right from this screen. We can also add the carrier to our watch list. Once again, Lisa talked about the watch list that can be maintained in SaferWatch. That's a list of all your carriers that if something changes with that carrier, you want the system to update automatically. And you can configure the system so that once a day, it will go out and will automatically update all of the carriers that are on your watch list. In addition, you can configure the system so once every X number of days, we recommend every 30 days, the system automatically goes out and updates all of the carriers in the system. Keep in mind that if you are looking at a carrier, it's going to tell you right here, obviously this was done just now today, the last time this carrier information was updated. We'll talk more about real-time updates in just a minute. Other information that does come in from SaferWatch is insurance information. Now, of course, those of you that are not using the SaferWatch integration today, you manually enter your information in the Insurance tab in the program. Once you've added the SaferWatch module, we will bring in the FMCSA insurance information, once again coming directly from SaferWatch. And of course, the system will check against that based on your preference settings that we talked about just a few minutes ago. And if you have the enhanced integration with the CERT data, we can also bring in the CERT data. This is an add-on module to the basic SaferWatch integration. So if you're using the SaferWatch integration today, you want to add the CERT data, we can certainly discuss that with you. If you're looking to add the SaferWatch integration for the first time, you can add the basic along with the CERT data. So if I want to download the CERT data, all I would do is click Download the Data. Click OK, and once again, in real time, we've gone out, we've hit the SaferWatch site, and we've brought in all of, not only the certs, we brought in all of the CERT data. And we can see the insurance agent, that's where the CERT is actually coming from. We can see the address, the phone number, the email address, once again, the last time it was updated. And all of the information that is insurance related, the companies, the type, policy number, expiration dates, limits, once again, are all displayed right here. If you want to download the actual CERT, you would simply click Download the CERT, and it comes right into the system. It actually pops it up on the screen, and we can view it right here. If we close the CERT, if we want to see it again later on, that CERT is stored right in your document imaging center. You can see the CERT right here for carrier KLX. If a new CERT is issued because the insurance has changed, you can download that new CERT. We will, however, keep that old CERT on file in case it's necessary in the future for you to go back and reference that information. So 80% of the time, the certs will be on file with SaferWatch right when you download it. However, what would happen if you were entering a carrier and the cert was not on file? Well, let's take a look at that. I'm going to add a carrier a little bit different way this time. I'm going to add it the way most of you are more familiar with maintain carriers, and I'm going to add it from right here. But I'm not going to click Add and add it manually the way you're doing today if you're not using the SaferWatch integration. I'm going to click Add from SaferWatch, and I'm going to enter an MC number, 7621. And we can see that the carrier has been brought into the system. We'll go ahead and save this. I'm going to come over to insurance, come to CERT data, download CERT. And in this case, actually, there is no CERT on file for the carrier. So in this case, you can request the CERT. So we'll click Request the CERT data. And there's two, well, if you know the agent name and phone number, fax number, email, you can fill it in. It's not necessary, though. And there's two different priorities. One is a load waiting, the highest priority, and the other is simply a pre-qualify. Whichever one you choose, SaferWatch guarantees that they will go out every 15 minutes and request an update on that cert if they don't have it. All certs where a load is waiting, that occurs. Every 15 minutes they go out, they look for that information. That's one of the reasons why SaferWatch differentiates from other services out there, and that's why we partnered with them. As soon as the certificate becomes available, the person that requested the cert, as well as the main person on the account, on the SaferWatch account, will receive an email telling them that that cert is available. You can then go into the system and download the actual cert itself. Let's now take a look from an operational standpoint of how you would use the SaferWatch integration. So we'll just go back to my dispatch board. I'm going to select a load, and we'll just go and pick a carrier to assign to the load. And you'll notice in the column where most of you just see insurance information today for the I see a number of yellow X's. And as I come down here, you'll see there's not just general insurance information that you're seeing today, but you're seeing information from SaferWatch that's being displayed. The same is true. Yellow is a warning, red is a prevent. So let's say we wanted to add the first carrier we want to add is Get Trucking, GET, and we can see there's a yellow X, and we can see there's unsafe driving, vehicle maintenance, care risk indicator, and there's a FMCA expiration for BIPD. Well, if I double click to add it, once again, a warning pops up, and it's telling me what are the issues. These are the warnings. Once again, it's a warning situation, and based on my preferences, I'm telling the system, that's okay. I still can use these carriers, so I could go ahead and assign them. I'm not going to assign them, however. I want to show you one more carrier. Let's look at RPM here. And with RPM, we can see there's a red X. So as I double click here, the system, once again, the system went out in real time. It hit the SaferWatch site because if that information had changed since the last time we got an update, and it's coming back and telling me, well, indeed, that data did not change, that RPM does have these issues with their authority and the risk indicator, so it's not going to let me assign that carrier to a load. Once again, that's based on my settings. Just to reiterate, when you're assigning a carrier to a load in real time, we go out and we check the SaferWatch site to make sure that the information that we're using is the most current information possible, not from just the last time that it was updated within the Prophesy dispatch system. We'll close that. Now, as I talked about earlier, all of this information is kept in a log. So if we go to reports and we go to the SaferWatch activity log, we can see, starting from the top of the last items that we did, we can see on the right side that there's all kinds of filters that we could run. But we can see for RPM expedite on load 4149, the system canceled that assignment. It would not let us assign that carrier because there was an authority issue and there was a risk indicator issue. On 4149 for Get Trucking, the user canceled that. And it's also telling us there were some issues on safe driving, vehicle maintenance, and the risk indicator. And then we can see where I entered KLX Inc. We can see that I did a pre-approval, and the carrier was added to the system. You can also see for each of these items who the user was that actually performed it, the date and the time that it occurred. So once again, all of this information is being logged in here, where in case there ever is an incident or an accident, you can bring this information up, print it out, and show that, yes, indeed, you did the due diligence that you were required to do for your carriers when assigning your carriers. So some of the things we just looked at was bringing carriers into the dispatch system, how easy it is to onboard a carrier with the SaferWatch integration. Entering the MC number, entering the ID, pre-approve, you want to add the carrier, hit add, the carrier comes right into the system. You want to add it from the maintain carrier screen, enter the ID, enter the MC number, and you can onboard the carrier from there. We looked at the cert data and how you can bring in not only the certs themselves, the actual data, and the system will verify and check against that data based on your preference settings. The automatic alerts when the carrier does not meet your requirements when you're assigning a carrier, either warning you or preventing you, and checking that information in real time. And also keeping that log, the log of all that information that you checked, so in case there ever was an incident or an accident, that we will go ahead and alert you or give you that information, make that information available to whatever person you may have to give that to. What I'd like to do now is introduce Steve Seifritzberger. Steve is the logistics coordinator with the Shaker Group. Steve has been using our SaferWatch integration for almost 2 years, and Steve's just going to talk for a few minutes about his experiences using the integration and what he expects to be doing with the CERT integration that they'll be adding shortly. Steve?
Hey everyone. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about two things that I really like about SaferWatch. They've been total game changers with the integration with Prophesy. One was a little bit what Kevin had already talked about, pre-qualifying carriers. And what we did is we set up internally some guidelines of what's a good carrier and what's not. We really like to feature where if a carrier doesn't meet our needs, that would have to be overridden by a supervisor. So when we have a new CSR and they're trying to pre-qualify a carrier, they have to come to the supervisor and talk to them about their scores. You know, there's a couple carriers that we've used for a long time. Their scores were too high, so we can't use them anymore. And a couple of them we still use because we have a history of them. You know, their hours of service is just over our threshold, so we make an exception for them. The other thing we're really excited about is the new CERT data. It's going to save a lot of time for the employees. We have like stacks and stacks of certs we get in the mail every single day. We set up, 10, 15 carriers a day, and it eats up a lot of our time. So we're really excited about not having to manually enter it. We can pull it right from the SaferWatch website. It's going to be downloaded on there. So that's going to be pretty good. We did have a carrier, for an example, that was trying to get a cert for from 2 months. They have like 400 trucks and like 3 dispatchers, and I could never get them to send me one. So I went out there, downloaded it, printed it, updated my system. It was really nice to get that quickly. So yeah, we're pretty excited about how much time it's going to save, and yeah, keep up the good work, guys, and give us some more time-saving stuff.
Steve, thanks very much. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us today and for sharing that information with the group. And we'll certainly do our best to keep delivering you the best products we can. What I'd like to do at this time is I'm going to go ahead and open it up to a Q&A. At the top of your screen, there should be a chat box. If you do have a question, you can actually type it in there and you can send it directly to me, and then I can go ahead and read it aloud, and then we can answer the question. I'm just going to unmute Lisa, and I'm going to unmute Jay from SaferWatch. Lisa and Jay, you should be able to talk now. There was one question actually that came in while I was doing the presentation, and Joe asked, where did you select the log from? And Joe, let me go back and show that to you. If you simply, Joe, if you go to Reports and go to View SaferWatch Activity Log, that's where you'll find the log. So I hope that answers your question. We have, you're welcome, Joe. Once again, if you want to ask a question, at the top of your screen, there's a bar, and if you put your cursor up there, towards the right-hand side, you'll see a chat. Click on chat, and you can go ahead and you can send your question to me. Just type it right in. Another question coming in from Chris. If there's no cert on file for a carrier, how long does it take to get that cert? And, I'm going to turn that over to Jay, since, Jay, you're our expert on certs. Could you go ahead and answer that, Jay?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. So, we have about 5,000 insurance agents in our system, and each one of them have different procedures, and others, and some of them are very fast at sending certificates, and some are very slow. So we can't really guarantee the timeliness of an insurance agent, but we do guarantee our service level commitment to you guys, which is we will, as soon as you send that certificate request through Prophesy, we will work on the request immediately, and then every 15 minutes until that insurance agent sends us a certificate. So because we've been doing it so long, and because we've been hounding them the way that we hound them, we generally get really quick results because they don't want us following up with them every 15 minutes. So we're kind of irritating to insurance agents, but they also have an understanding that if we don't get it in, we're going to keep contacting them until they send it. So I can tell you that in general, 80% of the time when you send a request, we'll have it within the first 15 minutes.
So the other 20% could take, if it's a Friday afternoon and the insurance company's closed, it's impossible for us to get a certificate just like it would be for any company. We'll have to wait until the next business day. Fortunately, we're open from 5 to 5. So when insurance agents are open, no matter if it's the East Coast or the West Coast, when they're open, we're open, and we're contacting them to get the certificate right away. So on Friday afternoon, if we call and the insurance recording says, we're closed or we're closed for the holiday, whatever the case may be, we set the appropriate follow-up time to where it will contact that insurance agent the next business day, first thing in the morning when they open. Hopefully that that answers your question, and I appreciate it.
Jay, thank you very much. Jay, could you just talk, since we're on the subject of certs, could you talk a little bit about the importance of a broker having the actual cert versus just having the basic information?
Sure, absolutely. So, you have, like Lisa was saying, you have a contractual obligation to your customer, and you also have an ethical responsibility to your customer to qualify your carriers properly. And one thing you want to do is make sure that you have a cargo insurance certificate and or a cargo insurance on file. And as of, I think it was 2010, it was like March or something, 2010, where they eliminated the BMC 32 endorsement on the FMCSA. Now, the only way to check for your customer to make sure that a carrier that you're using for their load, make sure they have cargo insurance, is through a certificate of insurance. So it's crucial, whether it's for legal reasons or if it's your bread and butter account, you want to make sure that if there's cargo damage or theft or whatever the case may be, that when your customer calls you, that you can say, yes, I have the current insurance information for this carrier, and here's the agent's phone number, and here's the policy information.
Great, thank you very much, Jay. Another question came in while Jay was talking, and Wes asked, if the address of a carrier is changed on the federal website, does it get updated in Prophesy? If we have a different address for them for billing purposes, would it get overwritten? It's a great question, Wes. And once you do your initial onboarding of the carrier and that address information comes in, we actually do not update any of that address information ever again in the system. We made that decision because a lot of customers that we talked to said when that information comes in, if the carrier does move, they want to go in and update it. Or if there's multiple locations, they want to be able to put in the address they want to put in. So we do not update that information. So you would update that manually. And the same is true, obviously, on the billing side. We do not update that as well. Are there any other questions today? Hearing no additional questions, I would certainly like to thank all of our customers that joined us today. Those of you that are using the SaferWatch integration already, I hope you'll consider adding the CERT integration to your existing interface. Those of you that have not been using the SaferWatch, I would hope that you would consider adding the SaferWatch along with the CERT integration. If that is something you're interested in, you can certainly contact your account manager for more information on that. I'd also like to thank once again Jay Pelkey and Lisa Reichenberg from SaferWatch for joining us, and also like to thank Steve Freidrichsberger from the Shaker Group for joining us today as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a great afternoon.